The following video is sponsored by Viofo. Now, when it comes to dash cams, you're probably aware most of them are 30 frames per second. In fact, all of them until now. This is where the Viofo comes in with the A329. So this is a model that shoots in 4K 60 frames per second, and that's giving us very smooth, sharp footage. Now, it's a two-channel system. They're using the Sony Starvis sensor, the Starvis 2. So we get 2K with the rear footage at 30 frames per second, and then the front dash cam footage, that's the 4K 60, which is very smooth. It's also using Wi-Fi 6, and that means that a minute of 4K footage will transfer in about 10 seconds or under, so very quick. You don't have to sit around and wait for that. And it doesn't encrypt the files, or you don't have to use the app. You can just take them from the SD card, the micro SD card too as well, if you wanted to. So it also has HDMI support, and this is at 4K 62, so you can run an external screen, a monitor hooked up to this. If you needed that, you've got that possibility. So let's have a look at what they did send out to me. So we have our A320. This is the main unit here. Now, the screen isn't touch. You use these buttons here to control everything, and I'll go over that further on in this particular video here. So you'll see here that that's our lens right there at the back. We've got the adhesive to stick it on. There's a built-in speaker, built-in microphone, using the Starvis 2 sensor. So that's how we get that 4K 60 frames per second quality. Also SSD support with this unit, as I mentioned there in the intro. This is our rear camera, so 2K that I showed and talked about just at the intro. So you stick that one on too as well. And that's the video out on the side there of it. So those are the two main cameras, but there are some optional extras we can get. So there's a polarizing lens for the rear camera. You can get one there for the front. I believe that one is included. There's an optional Bluetooth remote. The hardwire kit also optional. SD card. So that's got up to 100 megabytes per second reads and 40 writes. This is a pry tool for when you stick these on if you wanted to remove them. They're a little bit difficult to get off, so the pry tool is certainly going to help us. And this is the cable that we need for the rear camera. And here we do have a Type-C to Type-C cable. And then our car charger, that one's using Type-C and our Type-C cable for the main A329 unit. And finally, got a little bit of paperwork here, and they do provide us with some spare adhesives there for sticking the dash cam in place if you need to redo it. We have a nice big color screen here. No, it is not touch, so the controls are all through the buttons here. And I think it's better because touch on such a small screen would be a little bit fiddly, frustrating. So you can see our status here, the date, the time. This is to protect the video file. This is a snapshot. Record button, mic on and off, and the Wi-Fi connection if you hold that down. So it's pretty straightforward, simple, easy to use. It's got a G-Shock sensor in there too, so if it detects like a collision, it's going to be protecting that footage anyway and recording it. We've got a built-in speaker, microphone. Here on the side, micro HDMI video out, and there is our micro SD card slot there. This is for plugging in that rear 2K camera. So I have the filter over the lens already. That's very easy to pull off. So just pull that up and that will come off. And this can be angled up and down. This is our mounting point there too for it. And here we have a Type-C USB port on the side, and there's one at the top that I'm currently plugged into. So the car that I'm using for this test is a Mercedes EQE 350 2024 model. It's a bit difficult to see. This car comes with its own camera, and you can buy an application for its dash cam, but would you believe it or not, it's only 720p the quality, which is just downright terrible. Now, I don't have that old cigarette lighter, the accessory plug, but it's got two Type-C ports here down below. I also do have another two USB Type-Cs right here, but these ones won't be useful for me because I still need to close this. The EQE has a tiny rear little windscreen. While visibility out of it is not great, it shouldn't block my visibility too much if I have the camera right here in the middle, which is where I'm going to install that. Cables will have to run along the side and then down the side door to the main unit. Now, the installation in this car of the dash cam has to be to one side because I've got this huge part in the middle here that has the dual cameras for the active lane keeping assist, the auto driving functions, and the other camera. So it needs to go about here to the side. Now you can see on the screen, it's a little bit difficult there, but you can line that up and make sure that I don't have this plastic in the way. And because it teeters off at the end there a little, I'm able to put it about here without it getting in the way of the camera, and then you can angle that lens up or down for the installation. So it's pretty easy. Just need to remove that adhesive. It's a shame I can't get it right up here, because if I do so, I'm going to have that plastic in the way, and if I move it too far this way, it then starts to capture a little bit here of the A-pillar, which of course you don't want to have that. So for the cable routing, I can route it around here with the door trim and not damage the car. So you can see what I'm doing now. I'm just pushing it up into the seal. And what I'll be able to do is take it all around the outside of the door here, down along here, and get it under the mat to where it connects into where it's powered on, and getting that cable out of the way. And for the rear camera, this is going to be a little bit more tricky to get that routing all around under the seats to go around the trim here and then to where the main unit is. As you can see now from a driver's perspective, I am not actually seeing that unit at all. I've still got all of this in the way and that blocks it, and it's got a clear field of view from where it is. It might be a little bit annoying from the passenger's side. Looking now at our sample footage. So here on the Mediterranean coast, nice, bright, clear day. You can see the footage is very sharp. Lots of details are being captured, and at that very smooth 60 frames per second. Down the bottom, you see our GPS coordinates, very handy, and my speed too as well. So this is going to be good information to give. If you were in an accident, you've got all of that. Now, the audio you're listening to, this has been recorded on the A329. So the microphone, the quality, and the bit rate is good enough that I can be understood clearly here. And this is great. Imagine that someone ran into the back of you. Hopefully not, but imagine it happens. Well, you could spit out all the details and have that captured too as well in the moment. And I think it's a good idea to have that. Now, you can disable the mic if you don't want to have it on. And then we have the rear camera footage too as well. That's 2K. So we've got 4K 60 up front and 2K 30 frames per second at the rear. And you can see that as I go around this car, the car behind me getting a little bit close there. And you get all of those details. Capture number plates, and overall the footage I think is decent. This is good, a lot of detail, and that nice smooth 60 frames per second is very good. Some footage now on the motorway, otherwise known as the autopista here in Spain. So we have a speed limit of 120 kilometers per hour. That right there to the right, that's the Mongo, the mountain that I often film in some of my videos. So with this frame rate of 60 frames per second, I think it's good, especially at these higher motorway speeds, freeway speeds here. And the A329 does support voice commands. For example, take a photo. And it is taken there a photo. So great to have the hands-free operation, the voice commands. It makes it a lot safer, and definitely a good feature to have in a dash cam. And you can see right now the rear footage in 2K with this what looks like a Volkswagen Golf just overtaking me. So even though it's only 2K, still good quality there, and it does support HDR. Nighttime footage, it is 9:38 in the evening. A little bit quiet, but you can see number plates. I do have 4K HDR enabled here, so you're able to see the details here of the number plate of this car, for example. And I'm in the port area, so there's a few lights around here. We've got some blue lights on the left, so if things look a little bit blue, well, it's meant to look blue there, so that isn't bad. So let me show you the application here. First, you need to connect up to the Wi-Fi 6 that it has its own access point. So I've done that already. Then you need to find the Viofo application, which I have here installed. And you'll see it'll give me a live preview. So that's giving me the front camera and the rear camera. And then I can go here into the footage. So it'll show me now what's being stored on the SD card. And this is all very quick, because with other models, this is extremely slow, but not here. So I can go and find some footage. Okay, we'll take a look at this one right here. And I can start to play this. There we go. Now that quality is looking good. And then the download, I'll show you how quick this is. This is 586 megabytes. And look at how fast this is downloading. This is extremely quick. Other models, you simply have to wait for minutes. In fact, sometimes with some of them, it's going to take like 5 minutes to download this. And the good thing is these files, you don't need to use the app. I could just plug in the micro SD card if I wanted to and get access to them and move them over to my PC. But that was really quick. So that's great having that Wi-Fi 6 support. So what do you think of that footage there from our A329? Well, I think it's very good. The 4K, it's sharp, and it is good enough that we can get those details of number plates. From about 100, 150 meters away, you're able to see those. And I love the fact that it's 4K 60, the first dash cam to support this. So that footage is very smooth. And if you ever are in an accident, you probably want every single one of those 60 frames per second. And just in case there's something there you need to see, which you may miss if it's at 30 frames per second or at 24 frames per second like other dash cam models. Now the rear camera, the second channel, that is 30 frames per second at 2K. So it's decent enough that we can still see details if someone was, for example, to rear end you. Hopefully not, but you're gonna have that captured. Microphone quality for inside if you're talking and you want to record some further details of, say, an accident, a nose to tail or something, well, it's good enough that it can pick all of that up. And you've got the HDMI out option, which is excellent too as well. Using the Starvis 2 sensor from Sony, and the application is very easy, and you can transfer those files, taking a 1 minute of 4K footage, only about 10 seconds, which other dash cams can be painfully slow. So if you'd like to know more about this particular model, check out the link in the description of this video for the pricing and availability. And thank you so much for watching this video on the Viofo A329.